Today on Monkey Life, elderly Gibbon Ella's on the operating table, but can her sight be saved?
So that is a very dense cataract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Orangutan Kai has that boxed-in feeling.
It's a really slow process. We have to work into make him comfortable getting in there and actually being in there.
And the squirrel monkey and saki enclosure gets a makeover. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Nothing's ever straightforward on these.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. Over at the park's hospital, a big day is planned for one of Monkey World's older residents, and the medical team are getting ready.
So we've decided to go ahead with Ella's eye operation for our cataracts. We've had to shut her in early this morning and make sure that she's got no breakfast and things like that in preparation for the operation. And we're just obviously a little bit of concern, a little bit of worry. She is an old lady, and of course there's always going to be issues and concerns over how the anaesthetics and things are going to go. We have put in lots of preparation, we've done lots of training with her, so hopefully that'll all take effect and work really smoothly, and that'll help in her favour today.
Over recent months, staff have become increasingly concerned about Ella's eyesight. She's developed cataracts in both eyes and been moving around slowly, frequently having to pause to work out her next move. It was becoming obvious that something had to be done. And so today, human eye specialist Mr Bray and his team are going to try and give Ella back her sight and quality of life. Recently, Lindsay successfully treated a cataract on Lola, a chimp in her late 20s from Paddy's group, and he's hoping for a similar outcome with Ella. She's been anaesthetised and had drops put in both eyes to dilate her pupils, ready for the operation. Specialist wildlife vet John Lewis has been brought in to control her anaesthetic.
I'm going to need Ella's head right at the top here.
Yep. Everything shuffles
So
that
I'm
way.
going to need her head up here.
Okay.
Okay.
Just slide the whole animal up on its heat mat, that way. It's this, it's going to
A
drag.
bit hairier than most of my patients, isn't she? That's probably too high, isn't it? I think that's going to be fine.
Look at that pupil.
That's going to be fine.
That
yeah.
pupil's come up again.
Have you
But
picked an eye open?
yeah, the left one.
eye?
Yeah.
Because that one's
Yeah.
worse, or...
They're both the same, but the pupil's bigger.
Okay.
Lindsay will only operate on Ella's left eye in case there are any unforeseen complications.
Ella has got two absolutely white cataracts, so Ella won't be able to see anything at all. If you were to wave your arms in front of her face, she would just about be able to pick that up. And that really is all she could see. And both eyes are the same. Sometimes white cataracts like this become very hard, and then technically that does make it a bit more complicated. It's also complicated by the fact that Ella's eyes are very small compared to a human's eye. I won't really know until I start.
Ella's eye needs to be kept open using a tiny instrument that's normally used for eye operations on human children, and getting it in place is tricky.
We got some 6-8. Ah, there we are. It's okay. Done it. Yeah, done it.
Well done.
With it in position, the team are ready to start.
So that is a very dense cataract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lights down, yes, please.
We'll do it from the top then.
Well, that's a small eye, isn't it?
In order to remove the front of the lens, Lindsay uses a blue dye to stain it, which makes it easier to see what he's doing.
Drop some here, please, Jared. Thank you.
It's a very difficult procedure on a smaller patient, and there are some nervous onlookers in the room.
Right now, we can just stand and watch, and it's out of our hands. We've got no control, so it's kind of hard just standing around and waiting for the guys to obviously do everything, and then we'll obviously have the worrying bit of waiting for her to come round. So kind of really nervous at the moment and worried. Just got to wait and see what happens, really.
And as the operation continues, things don't get any easier for the medical team.
Okay, now we're going to have to adjust her head again in a minute, I think. This access is so awkward, isn't
Awkward,
it?
yeah.
It's because everything's so small, that's the tricky bit. You know.
Across the park, the care team who look after the orangutans have been busy putting out treats for Hsiao-Quai's group. Two of her youngsters, 6-year-old Jin and adopted orphan Awan, who's just 4, are discovering the joys of pomegranates and marmite. Youngster Awan, however, is at the back of the queue. Big brother Jin shows her how it's done, getting his hands and feet on as many pomegranates as he can. Awan is taken aback by his ability. He's obviously done this before. A little knowledge is a wonderful thing, and knowing where the fruit stash is hidden always helps. A quick demonstration of a top-flight marmite manoeuvre shows off even more skills. It's too much for Awan, who's still trying to master pomegranate pips. While Mum Hsiao-Quai is not inclined to share. Never mind, time for a quick after-breakfast play. And later, a cuddle from Mum. While Awan has been picking up tips outside, indoors, Big Brother Kai is having lessons of his own. Kai is now 11 and almost grown up, and grown-up male orangs need to move on.
Orangutan males cannot live in the same group when they are fully grown, so we have a problem because Kai is getting there. He's a teenager now, so soon, in maybe 2 years, maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years, he's gonna be fully grown, he's gonna be really fat, he's gonna have his cheek pads and everything, so he doesn't fit in the nursery anymore.
Kai has spent his entire life here at the park and has had a great upbringing by his mum, Hsiao-Quai. He's now ready for a family of his own. And in Spain, a zoo has just built a new house and island enclosure for orangutans. And the plan is for Kai to go there.
Hey, handsome boy.
To avoid having to dart him or even use anesthetics with him, we're training him to move into a box. This is a travel crate, and it's quite a small box. It's quite dark inside, so it's a really slow process. We have to work into make him comfortable getting in there and actually being in there.
The secret of the training is to reward Kai with food.
Take a bed.
This box is a box of fun. He gets raisins, he gets food that he normally doesn't get, different kinds of nuts. He gets a drink of milk sometimes, so it's also a surprise. So he's quite motivated to go in the box to see what happens to him, because we make sure it's only really nice stuff that happens in here.
The fact that Kai is happy to be inside the crate is good news. It means he won't need an anesthetic when he travels. But Kai won't be going on his own. Linga and Jolie, who grew up with him in the nursery, will be going too.
Moving with these two girls, there will be no need for him to go through introductions. They know each other very well, they've grown up together, and they're also not fully grown, so they will be moving now as teenagers, so they will be probably a play group in there, and with time they will become a really nice family group. Kai will probably become a really nice, fully grown male for these two ladies as well.
Though it might be good for the teenage orangs, it's a big wrench for the team.
It's really nice that he's gonna go, but it's really sad for us. We've been living with him practically every day for the last few years, and Kai is one of those characters that everyone loves Kai.
At the park's saki and squirrel monkey outdoor enclosure, things are getting rather overgrown. Some of the branches are rotting, vegetation's becoming thick, and the whole area needs a renovation. Today, there are plans for a major revamp, as it's starting to cause a few difficulties for some of the residents.
Quite a lot of the guys in this group, both the squirrels and the sakis, are getting on a bit. 3 of our female squirrel monkeys are all sort of quite old, and the sakis too are both sort of fairly elderly. So we need to bear that in mind when we are rebranching, that we're, putting down nice, easy routes. It's not going to be too difficult for them to move about.
The refit will particularly benefit elderly Jethro and Chloe, who've lately been finding it harder to get around. Chloe recently arrived at the park, and a key concern for Jethro is that he has enough room to avoid her when he wants some time to himself.
Jethro does sort of like her, but he gets a bit sort of perplexed by her. So if she's sat anywhere in the way in the enclosure, he gets quite sort of nervous about moving past her. So we're also rebranching, giving him extra routes around the enclosure, so he hasn't got to get so sort of frustrated and nervous when he's trying to move past his lady.
Once done, the residents will have easier access to all areas. And the nimble squirrel monkeys have their own requirements too.
They're a lot more agile, so with those guys we don't have to worry so much about thicker branches. We can use a lot of the hosing and the thinner branches, and we can run that up a lot higher as well, so we're going to have sort of 2 levels so they can get up nice and high.
With such a big job on their hands, the maintenance team and primate care staff are getting together for the home renovations. And while they take place, the monkeys are waiting indoors, looking forward to the grand unveiling. They're finding it a bit frustrating, but it should be well worth the wait. After a lot of hard work, the transformation is complete. And it's time for the monkeys to give the revamped enclosure the once-over. Even senior citizen Jethro shows a sudden turn of speed. And they all seem pleased with the results of the facelift.
Jethro is a little bit cautious to begin with. He's an older man, so when his environment changes, he has to take a minute to kind of think about what's happened. But once he sort of figured it out, he sort of made his way around the branching, just sort of checking that we'd done it properly and that he could move around okay and that it was supporting him.
While Jethro enjoys a good nose about, doting Chloe, who has always enjoyed being outside, happily follows after him.
Chloe as well has multiple places she can sort of sit where she's close enough to Jethro that she can keep an eye on him, which is where she sort of likes to be. But Jethro's also able to move around without having to worry if Chloe gets in his way.
Revamp or not, one of the group is less enthusiastic. Recent arrival Azzy is a bit unsure and will need to pluck up more courage before heading out.
Even though we'd revamped the enclosure for her, she wasn't a bit grateful, and she did still hang back in the bedrooms, which is where she does prefer to be.
But before long, she musters her mettle and heads outside to check out the home improvements. Although not venturing far, at least she's out, and the other squirrel monkeys are keen to show her how much fun their upgraded environment can be. The park is home to 3 groups of woolly monkeys, each led by a dominant male. Long-standing resident Levar looks after 4 members in his family. Chippy, who's been at the park since 2010, has recently been moved to a new household of 6, which includes the park's newest addition, 4-week-old baby Olivia. And then there's Paolo. Born at the park in 2007, he's now in charge of Chippy's old group. The family includes Urima and her daughter Ava and son Carlos, along with Pakaya and her daughter Oriana. Today, Paolo's group are getting their usual breakfast of fruit and nuts, but they're going to have to work for it. The primate care staff have filled bottles with straw as well as the healthy breakfast. and are putting them around the enclosure for these intelligent monkeys to find. It's a great activity to mimic natural foraging behaviour. Paolo's first out, and the hunt is on for the breakfast buffet. Pakaya has already found 2 bottles, and she's not sharing with anybody, even daughter Oriana. Yurima, on the other hand, is slightly more generous and does allow little Carlos a small morsel to keep him happy. Pakaya has polished off the snacks from one of her bottles. But Paolo double-checks just in case she's missed something. Ava keeps an eye on her younger brother Carlos as he hides in the undergrowth with his bottle. And, as big sisters do, soon decides her little brother should share with her. Pakaya just can't get enough of all this breakfast in a bottle. But she can't get to every bottle first, and new dominant male Paolo finds one for himself. Ava opts for a discarded piece of melon. It's less fiddly. And once the bottles are empty, it's time for a bit of foraging in the undergrowth. At the park's hospital, a rare and very delicate operation is being carried out on Ella, an elderly Gibbon.
So that is a very dense cataract, isn't it?
Human eye specialist Mr Bray has performed thousands of cataract procedures before, but never on a Gibbon.
Access is so awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
The medical instruments that he uses on his human patients are proving to be much more difficult to use on Ella's small eye.
John, what we've got going on here is what in humans is called Bell's phenomenon. So the eye is tilting up underneath the top lid.
Need it deeper.
Yeah.
Because Ella is an old lady, vet John Lewis has used a light anaesthetic, but this has caused the pupil of her eye to not fully relax, and it's making things difficult for Lindsay.
Try the simple way first. If that doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Okay. When the anaesthetic's quite light, the eye tends to drift right up underneath the top lid, and I can't get access to it to do the operation. And with Ella's eye being so small anyway, it's tilted right up, and a deeper anaesthetic just makes that relax, and then I should be able to get access again. So we're just going to see if that's done enough. Just tell me when you think, John.
Have a look now. We have to watch that eye though, because it's very high.
With Ella's eye now relaxed, Lindsay removes a small circle of the outer lens, which will later be replaced with an implant. He then gets to work breaking up the cataract.
I'm just releasing it.
Separating
I'm separating it from the capsule.
And now you're going to...
Now I'm going to use
Rattle its
ultrasound
swirls.
here.
Okay.
But before he can start, he encounters a new set of problems.
Ooh.
The head's gradually falling over to the left. Yeah. We've got to somehow stabilise her head a bit.
What's happening here is that bund
Is that coming out?
was coming out to the right.
Right.
So now if we get her
Okay.
head
Right.
propped up from that left
Right.
side, is that better?
We'll see.
Finally, Lindsay can get to work on the cataract. A phaco machine sends ultrasonic waves into the cataract, breaking it up into small pieces. These are then sucked up through a small probe.
It's very difficult to rotate it.
Yeah.
But the advanced cataract is proving tough to break down.
Head's gradually going.
Is it?
Yeah. Very, very tricky. I might just see if it aspirates.
Yeah.
At last, Lindsay manages to clear the cataract.
Okay,
So shall I
right, so
take
we
the
need more
lens?
heel on it, please.
More heel on.
Unbelievably difficult. It was a very dense cataract. The main problem was just getting access to the eye to do the operation. That's what's been the problem. I've just got to put the lens in and put a stitch in it. That's what an implant looks like. So it's got a lens in the middle and two little loops, a loop either side. And the loops just support the lens in the eye.
The lens is rolled up and inserted using an injector through the tiny incision at the top of the eye. Once inside, it's unravelled and placed in position. Just one stitch is all that's needed to finish up.
That's in.
Yeah. Okay, right then, we're done.
Done.
Phew. Cool. That was very difficult. Right, well, that's just about as hard a cataract as it's possible to do. That is difficult, yeah.
Ella is transferred to a travelling crate where she will come round from the anaesthetic. For Lindsay, it's been a challenging but rewarding day.
There was nothing difficult about the eye or the cataract. The difficulty was the access and the fact that the head kept slipping off, and just technically it was difficult to see what I was doing. That was the only problem. But it's gone fine. She should be seeing better within a couple of days or so. Yeah.
With the demanding operation a success, the team can at last breathe a sigh of relief. But now they must wait for Ella to fully come round from the anaesthetic, and it'll be a few days before they know if the operation has been a success. Next time on Monkey Life. The team face a difficult decision when squirrel monkey Samantha undergoes an operation.
If it's operable, in other words, I can remove it, we'll do it. But I very, very much doubt it.
And it's all gone bananas at the Capuchins.